Mr. Park, I'd like to just continue Senator Ossoff's line of questioning. He was just asking about the First Amendment. You said that you had a number of cases on the speech side of the First Amendment as Solicitor General. Is that right?
That's correct.
You also had some religion clause cases too, though, didn't you?
I believe I've had one.
So let's talk about when you were Solicitor General defending the governor's executive order that closed churches in the state. Do you remember that executive order?
Yes, Senator.
So the executive order said that all indoor gatherings of 10 or more people were banned, with some exceptions. Do you recall?
I believe it said that there was no limits on outdoor gatherings, and if it was not possible to have an outdoor gathering, then you could have it inside with 10 people.
Okay, so if it's 10 or more people, you can't have it indoors unless it is impossible. Here's what you told the court. Here's who you told the court would absolutely have to be able to meet indoors and function indoors, regardless of the governor's executive order. Airports, buses, train terminals, medical facilities, shopping mall, shopping centers, Walmart, Lowe's, and other retail businesses of all kinds. At the same time, you told the court churches should be closed. Churches should have to meet outside or just not meet at all. Why is that? Why is it that Lowe's and Walmart, they absolutely have to be open? They're essential. Churches, good luck to you.
Well, Senator, of course, I didn't design that policy. I was a lawyer defending a client.
But didn't you? I thought that you were the Solicitor General making these arguments.
Senator, I had a brief involvement in that case, and I actually think my involvement...
Wait, so you didn't, you weren't, these aren't your arguments? You didn't say this to the court?
Senator, I never filed a brief, so what happened is the complaint was filed, and before...
You weren't Solicitor General defending the executive order at the time?
Oh, yes, Senator.
Okay,
yes.
All right, so let's just skip all that, and let's just get to the substance here. You were the Solicitor General, you defended it, you made the arguments. So, why is it that Walmart and Lowe's can be open, but churches had to be closed?
Senator, I think that if you study that case,
I've read the case. I have it right here.
The procedural history, you'll see that it actually reflects my respect for religious liberty. So at that time, in May of 2020, the prevailing law was Chief Justice
Why is it respectful to close churches but not to close Walmart and Lowe's? Listen, I got nothing against Walmart and Lowe's. I like those stores fine. I was at both of them last weekend. But I was also in church last weekend. And what the procedural history shows is in jurisdiction after jurisdiction during COVID, governments discriminated, and I use that word advisedly, discriminated against people of faith, particularly Christian churches, Catholic churches, Orthodox Jewish synagogues, including your state, including this executive order. I want to know why. Why was it that you argued that churches ought to be closed but Lowe's could be open? Explain that to me.
Senator, so what Chief Justice Roberts said in the South Bay decision was that those kind of retail establishments have short-lived durations, and for the relevantly similar activity was...
Short-lived duration. I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, Senator, if I could...
Was it a mistake to close churches while you allowed Lowe's and Walmart to be open?
So that is what the Supreme Court held about a year later, and the point I'm trying to make
I'm asking you, yes, was it a mistake for you to argue to this court that it was fine to close these churches, but Lowe's and Walmart could be open? Do you regret it?
Senator, I had a duty to represent my client.
So you don't regret it? You have the benefit of retrospect now. Do you regret it?
Senator, I don't think it would be appropriate for me to criticize the policy decisions that I was asked to defend.
You have no...
A tense Senate hearing erupts as Senator Josh Hawley confronts a judicial nominee over COVID-era policies that shut down churches while big-box retailers stayed open. This explosive exchange raises serious questions about religious liberty, the First Amendment, and whether constitutional rights are optional during a crisis. Watch the full breakdown of one of the most heated moments in the hearing.
Decisions that I was asked to
defend. You have no problem with it. Here's what else you told the court. You also told the court that if a church raised an objection to this, if the church said, no, we think we need to meet indoors, who did they have to answer to? They had to explain themselves to the sheriff or local law enforcement, the cops. And the cops would then make a determination about the church's theology. Do you remember that? Do you remember that?
Yes, Senator.
Yeah. And so do you remember what the court said about that?
So the court enjoined the governor's order in that
The
respect.
court says this court has grave concerns about how that answer, your answer, comports with the free exercise clause. Then the court went on to say that, yeah, you couldn't enforce the law. Why not? The government cannot treat, I'm quoting, cannot treat religious worship as a world apart from non-religious activities with no good, or more importantly, no constitutional explanation. What do you have to say about that?
Senator, after that TRO order was entered, in consultation with my client, we chose not to appeal
Yeah, after you lost.
At a time when it was abundantly clear that we would have prevailed on appeal, because the prevailing law at the time was Chief Justice Roberts' concurrence in South Bay. And so I actually think that that reflects...
Well, so you were doing, you're saying that you really were doing churches a favor by making these arguments for them, by shutting them down, while Lowe's and Walmart and bars and who knows what else were all open?
Well, Senator, I didn't design that policy.
You defended it, and you just sat here and told me you don't have any regrets about it. Here's the deal. I've seen a parade of people sit in your seat who did the same thing, the same exact thing. Our respect for our rights, our constitutional rights, our civil liberties, they're not tested when it's easy. They're tested when it's hard. After 9/11, we found out who really believed in civil liberties and who didn't. In the COVID era, we found out who believed in the right to free exercise and who didn't. And it looks like you didn't. And now you were in good company. There were a lot of people just like you who did what you did, who discriminated against churches, who defended it and said, well, it's a necessity. It's a necessity. But what that tells me is when push comes to shove, you think the First Amendment is optional. It's not optional. And I haven't voted for a single person who shut down churches. And I'm sure as heck not going to vote for you. And I'll just say to what remains of this administration, if you keep sending people up here who voted to shut down churches and openly discriminated against people of faith, you're going to get this reaction every darn time. You should be telling me you regret this. It was an error. It was unconstitutional. You shouldn't have made those arguments. In retrospect, you regret it. That would be the answer you should have given. You didn't, and you will not have my vote.
Mr. Park, would you like to complete an answer to any of those questions?
Thank you, Chair Durbin. What I was trying to explain is that I was invited by the court to defend the governor's order less than 24 hours after the complaint was filed at a TRO hearing. I never filed a brief. We filed a declaration from the chief medical officer for the state. I did my duty to appear at the TRO hearing and advocate for my client's interests. But after the adverse decision the following day, in consultation with my client, we chose not to appeal when the controlling law at the time was pretty clear that we would have prevailed because Chief Justice Roberts, a couple days later, issued his concurring opinion in South Bay. It wasn't until almost a year later, with Chief Justice Roberts in dissent, that the free exercise analysis in Tandon and Brooklyn Diocese was different. And that's why, at that time, there were about 35 states, including, by my understanding, about 15 states with Republican governors, that had similar or more restrictive limitations on group congregate worship. But we chose, and the governor chose, to issue a new executive order to not appeal and to exempt all religious activity from the limitations.
Thank you, Mr. Park. Senator Hirono.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Congratulations, Mr. Park.
If you find this political breakdown interesting, please give me a thumbs up and as well, like and subscribe for more.